everyone, you're welcome back to my channel. So I'm so excited to have you here once again. So here in today's tutorial, I'm going to be creating a very beautiful and simple boo dress, short boo dress with this ox wrapper. Okay, I love this wrapper so much, maybe because of the design, the popular ox design on it. Okay, so I'm going to give you a sneak peek into what I normally do before I start drafting. So I'll always check my style, like I'll give attention to my style, pay attention to the detail, everything. Then after which I silently pray every time that I cut, pick my fabric and I measure it. Okay, so these are things I normally do each time I want to cut or draft or make a tutorial. Okay, so I decided to give you a little brief view or brief insight on what I do. So here is my fabric that has been that is on the table already, and it's time for us to start working on it. Okay, so like I said, I'm making a free boo dress with a kind of cold shoulder sleeve on one side. Okay, it has cold shoulder sleeve on one side. I believe you already saw it on the thumbnail. Okay, so what I did here is that I folded my fabric into four because it's a cut together. We're cutting the sleeve and the shoulder together. So I folded it into four and I proceeded to mark my length. That is the length of my dress on the hem side. Then the next thing I did is that on this upper part that will be my shoulder, I went on to place my tape there and measure my waistline. That is from my shoulder to my waist, and marked it. After marking it, I also measured from my waist to my hip line and I also marked it. So these are just the line we're going to be needing for this project. So after marking them, I proceeded to label them. I have shoulder, waist, hip, and of course the length. Okay, so like I earlier mentioned, is a cut together short boo dress with cold shoulder on one side and pocket. So since it's a cut together, I'm measuring my shoulder divided by 2, mark it. Then from there I'll also measure and mark my sleeve length. So my sleeve length is 10 inches, and since I'm going to be attaching my sequence fabric to it, I'm subtracting 2 inches, right? So that's why I'm marking 8.5. The 0.5 attached to it is so that I can be able to use it as allowance to join the sequence fabric with the on the sleeve side. So I also slope down by 1 inch here. Remember, we're cutting directly on our main fabric, so when we join we have an inch, we arrive at 1.5 inches. Then I also mark my neck width and connected my shoulder slope. So now the next thing I'm going to do is to mark my round sleeve. That is the roundness of my sleeve. So this is a boo dress, and because of that, I'm going to ensure that my sleeve is as free as possible. So what I'm going to do now is to take this line to the upper part like this, and I'm just going to go ahead and mark my circumferences. Okay, so here now where my sleeve ended, remember I measured my sleeve and added some allowance to it, right? So here where my sleeve ended, I'm going to mark my hip circumference divided by 4. Now note that you can make this a bit fitted and you can make it very free. So mine, I am making it very free, very free, because it's a boo dress. It needs to be very free. But if you decide to make yours close to be fitted, remember it doesn't have zipper nor button, so you should also make room for as in make it in a way that you'll be able to wear it. Okay, since it doesn't have zipper and button. So what I did is that I marked my hip circumference divided by 4, which is the biggest part of my measurement, and added 3 inches to it. Okay, then on the hip line I marked my hip circumference divided by 4, same measurement, and added 3.5 inches instead of 3 inches, right? Because I wanted it to be very free. Okay, so I repeated the same thing I mark on the hip, I repeated it on the hemline, and here I'm just going to go in by like 0.75, that is half and quarter of an inch, and make a curve here because our armhole is not straight. Okay, so I made a curve there. Then I'm going to mark on this line and take it up straight to meet the shoulder line, that is this line here. Okay, I'm going to mark it up straight. Okay, so that is what I am doing here. I went on to measure exactly what I have the upper part and also measure it here to get a straight line. Now after doing that, in order to avoid pointedness around there, I measured about half an inch and I'm just going to connect it like this to the upper part towards the shoulder. So this eliminates pointedness around the sleeve. So now I'm marking 3 inches for my sleeve, my neck depth. So I'm using the same neck depth for both the front and the back parts. Okay, and that is what you see me marking here. After which I proceeded to connect with my ruler. So it's time to cut out, and I was not cutting out, and this is what I have right now. Okay, so it's time to cut out the neck part, and I proceeded to do that as well. So remember I said we are using the same measurement for both the front and the back, and that also include the measurement of the neck width and depth, right? Okay, so after cutting, I proceeded to set one aside, and I'm going to get our cold shoulder on one side. So have you seen a boo with a cold shoulder before? Now is the opportunity to see it and also learn how to make it. Okay, so now I'm going to be placing my fabric here, and I'm going to determine which part is the left part. So what I did first was to iron my fabric. I folded it into iron to get the crispy line on the center front, and I placed my tape like this and measured 3 inches. Okay, starting from the neckline on one side, I measure 3 inches. So I'm going to connect this part now to that 3 inches. So if you like, you can make your neckline more deeper than this. You can go down 4 inches or 4.5 for your neckline, so that when you curve, the cold shoulder is going to fall very well. Okay, but I don't want it to fall very well, fall down much. That is why I just didn't go down more than the neck depth, except about 0.5 inches on around the center line. So I'm marking my nipple length, that is bust span. Okay, so I place my tape on that creasing line that I ironed on the midpoint of the front part, and I'm measuring my bust span, that is nipple to nipple measurement, and that is what I am marking here. I'm just going to marking it all the way to the hem of my fabric. Okay, so you see mark it, and I'm going to connect to the upper part like this towards the neckline, and it will be time for me to cut out. Okay, now this is what I have, and what I'm going to do now is to go on and bring back the initial fabric I set aside. I'm going to place it right side facing right side. Remember I told us that we are cutting the same, we're going to have the same neckline for both the front and the back, right? So I place it right side facing right side. I'm going to be cutting out this neckline, but before I do that, I want to measure to ensure that I know what I have here in case of when I'm going to be attaching my sequence. So I measured, I placed my tape from the shoulder to measure down, and I have 3 inches. So I want to go down more to 3.75. Okay, I went down 3.5 inches. Yes, 3.5 inches, and I'm just going to connect like this before I cut out. Okay, so you see how I connected it, so that when I join with half of an inch, I'll have 4 inches at the end. Okay, 4 inches below, and that will help me to know what to cut out for my sequence that we're going to be attaching around the shoulder part of the cold shoulder side. So I proceeded to cut out, and I'm notching this part to be reminded that this is the part where we're going to be attaching our, where we have our cold shoulder, and where we're going to be attaching our sequence as well. So another thing I did was to fold my sequence fabric into 2 like this, and I'm going to be placing this fabric on it like this to get that neckline, the sequence fabric that is on the neckline, and I proceeded to secure with my pin like this. And the next thing I'm going to do is to pick up my chalk, and I'll trace the neckline and also the shoulder line depending on how wide I want the sequence fabric to be on the shoulder line. Okay, So that is what you see me doing here. Okay, so I was done doing it. I have 3 inches on both sides. So I'm going to unpin now and remove my fabric, and I'm going to measuring that 3 inches round. Okay, so that is what I'm going to be doing. I'll measure the 3 inches round and mark. So sorry is 3.5 inches because I needed 0.5 inches to hem it down, right? So I made it 3.5 inches instead of 3 inches. Okay, so after marking all round, I proceeded to connect like this, and it will be time to cut out. So if you're coming across my channel for the first time, my name is Merci and this is Merci Posh Stitches. So on this channel, every week I drop sewing tutorial, DIY, pattern drafting. I teach how to cut, how to stitch down neatly, and how to um make new styles that are coming on board every now and then. So my tutorials are latest styles, so you're highly welcome. So I proceeded to cut my sequence and I place it on it like this, right side facing right side. So I am going to hem the down part, and that is what I'll do after stabilizing with my ST. So this is what I have, and I proceeded to join the shoulder line of my sequence fabric and also got my ST and hem the down part with 0.5 inches. Okay, so this is what I have now. So I'll place it like this, wrong side of the sequence facing right side. Okay, if I'm putting lining, but if you are not using lining, you are going to place it like this, right side of the sequence fabric facing the wrong side of the main fabric, so that when you sew it, use it and turn the neckline, then it will come out like this, then you stop stitch. But because I'm using lining for this, so I'm going to be placing it this way. Okay, I'm going to be placing it this way, right side of the sequence facing up. Okay, then I'm just going to run a stitch around it, then also stitch it down on the other side. I will run a stitch to hold it down on the neckline, then also top stitch on it again. Okay, so after doing that, I'm going to now use my lining piece to neatly turn the neckline. Okay, so now I'm pinning it down, ensuring that I place it shoulder, aligning with shoulder, and I pin it down neatly. So I went on to sew, like I said, I proceeded to turn the neckline with lining piece. So if you're not using lining piece, I already show us how to so it will follow that. So I proceeded to mark my bust span line on one side of both the front and the back, and I cut out this very long strip and also stabilize it with my gum stair, with my stair. Okay, so velvet fabric now, it can be very stretchy, it can be difficult to work with, so it needs stabilization. That is why I use this stay to stabilize. So I cut out um 3 inches wide. So I am going to 3.5 inches wide. So I went on to hem on both sides half inches, and I was left with 2.5 inches. So that is the wideness of my sequence fabric now. So remember, from here to here I have 8 inches, which is 4 by 4. Okay, 4 from the front side, 4 from the back side. Remember when I was drafting, when I told us I measured 3 inches, 3.5 inches down, sorry, so that when we join with half of an inch, it will amount to 4 inches, and that will be the length of our sequence, right? So I marked 8 inches, but this 8 inches is not the right. I'm supposed to mark 4 inches, so sorry about that. I'm going to mark 4 inches, not 3 inches. Okay, so I'm going to fold it back again, and I'm going to mark, because we remove 4 inches from the front, 4 inches from the back, that is 8 inches, not 8 inches from the front, 8 inches from the back. And I proceeded to mark it the right way, which is for 4 inches. As you can see, the length we have here is 8 inches. That is 4 inches multiplied by 2. So I'm going to be placing it like this, ensuring that this point here is on the neckline. Okay, so please ensure that you do the same thing as well. make sure of what to subtract it so that I can be able to replace it accordingly. So now I am going to go ahead to sew. After securing my pins, I'm just going to run a stitch on top of it. Okay, so please ensure that you pin this neatly before you join. It will help you to get the best result. So I'll go ahead and join, and I'll bring it back for us to see. So I was done joining, and this is what we have. Okay, so now I'm yet to join this other part because I needed to explain something to you. That is why I didn't join this part behind the scene. I want to explain something. Now this is the that line, that is the nipple to nipple measurement I marked. Okay, so now this is how you're going to place your sequence. You're going to fold the amount, the sequence size is 2.5 inches wide, right? So the middle of that 2.5 inches, when you divide it into two, you're going to have about 1.25. So you're going to share it and make it this way. You can see. Okay, so that nipple line is going to be in the middle. That nipple line will be in the center of the 2.5 inches. Okay, it's going to be the middle. So you can see this space I have here now is the space where the sequence fabric is going to stay. Okay, by so doing, it gives you more, fitting. The fitting comes out more, it look more beautiful than when you place it exactly, place the start of this sequence exactly on the nipple line, then everything flushes to the side. But when you place the center of the sequence on the nipple line, it gives, you see that some pushes towards the center front, some pushes towards the side, and it gives you the best look. Okay, so that is what I observe. I say I have to let us know this before I stitch the second part. Okay, so I went on to stitch and turn all the side with my lining piece, and honestly I'm loving how this thing came out with this ox wrapper. So I proceeded to cut out this, and I'm going to be attaching it to the sleeve. Remember, when I cut out the sleeve, I told us that I'm going to add 2 inches to the length to make it 10 inches, right? So I cut out this, and it's 4.5 inches, and I'll be attaching it to the sleeve. Okay, now it's time to cut the pocket. This dress has inner pocket. Okay, so I have this fabric here, and it's two, and each of them are folded into two, and this is the length and the wideness as well. So this is what I'll be using to cut out my sleeve. So I'm just going to make a curve like this. I actually do not have a particular measurement for cutting out my pocket. Then I'll just come up here by like 2 inches, and I'll just make a curve like this, because I believe this pocket is something that even if you close your eyes, you can be able to cut it. Okay, so I just make a curve like this, and you see it's already looking perfectly like a pocket. So you should have at least 8 to 9 inches here, allowance here, so that when you turn the upper part and the down part, you will still be able to arrive to 7 or 7.5, so that your hand will be able to pass through, okay, comfortably. So I was done cutting, and I'm going to sew. So this is how I'm going to place it. Front, the wrong side, facing the upper part. I'm going to sew on the right side. That's what I mean. Wrong side facing wrong side, I will be sewing on the wrong part. On the right part, I'll sew on the right part, sorry. So I'll place it and sew, leaving only this space where our hand will pass through. Okay, so this is what I have now. Okay, and like I said, I am going to neatly conceal this part so that this white stuff won't be showing. Okay, or you can even decide to remove this white stay on this part so that it doesn't show. So I proceeded to measure from my shoulder to my half length, adding 1.5 inches. So if your 1 inch, if your half length is 16 inches, where your pocket will start is on 17 inches, that is 1 inches below your half length. So I went on to attach the sequence to the sleeve and join the side as well, and also sew my pocket. Okay, so if you don't know how to sew pocket, I have tutorial on how to do that. You are just going to check my channel or help me on the comment section. Let me link you to a video where you watch how to cut and attach this pocket. So I have this lace trimming that I got, and I'm going to be attaching it to the down part of this dress, and after which I am going to show you what it looked like. So I was done attaching it to the upper down part of the dress, and this is the final look of my casual boo dress with cold shoulder. So you can see how beautiful it is. I'll take it to my mannequin and you're going to see the look. So here it is on my mannequin, and it's looking super duper cute. I love the dress so much. I think the pattern also contributed to its ravishing beauty. I love it. Very, very beautiful. Okay, very simple and classic. So thank you so much for watching, my dear Portians. I hope to see you some other time when I drop another tutorial like this. Until then, stay safe and remain blessed. Please don't forget to ask questions. If you have questions, drop it on the comment section and I'll definitely attend to it. Bye.